Here's a sad one that comes from my esteemed professor, Dr. T.S. Johnson. Tommy Curry, whose remarks on race made him a target, is leaving the U.S. for Scotland. Tommy J. Curry, a black philosophy professor who received death threats for comments he made about racial violence, says he is leaving American academia for a position in Scotland. Being attacked online by white supremacists stains you in a certain way in the job market, Curry said. The professor who teaches at Texas A&M University told the Chronicle that he has accepted a position at the University of Edinburgh as a professor of Africana philosophy and black male studies. Nick Triner, head of the philosophy department at Edinburgh, said that he and his colleagues are excited by Curry's work and that they didn't discuss the controversy surrounding his comments, which caught fire online in 2017. That doesn't seem relevant to us, Triner said, if we're trying to assess who's a good philosopher. Curry joined Texas A&M in 2009. In 2012, he appeared on a radio show, Reading News Review, to lecture about race, fear, and other topics he studies. In December of that year, Curry planned to talk about Django Unchained, a film that stars Jamie Foxx as a gunslinger who rescues his enslaved wife by killing her white slavers. When we have this conversation about violence or killing white people, Curry said on the show, it has to be looked at in these kinds of historical terms. And the fact that we've had no one address like how relevant and how solidified this kind of tradition is for black people saying, look, in order to be equal, in order to be liberated, some white people may have to die. I've just been immensely disappointed because what we look at week after week is national catastrophe after catastrophe, where black people, black children are still dying, Curry said. This piece was posted on YouTube with the title Dr. Curry on Killing Whites. In 2017, Dr. Dreher, a blogger for the American Conservative, found Curry's words and called them racist bilge in a column titled, When Is It Okay to Kill Whites? A Reddit forum devoted to Trump noticed Dreher's article, as did the far-right Gateway pundit and InfoWars. The professor said he received dozens of hateful messages and death threats. As the attention grew, angry alumni put pressure on the university to respond. Some wanted Curry to be fired. Michael K. Young, Texas A&M's president, called Curry's comments disturbing and contrary to the values of the university. Young later acknowledged in another statement that scholars often find their work misunderstood and clarified that he is committed to academic freedom. Curry began looking for jobs that fall, he said in a phone interview. He said he hadn't expected Young or the A&M administration to buy into the political spin of white supremacists. But it became clear, Curry said, that while there's a language of diversity that allowed the university to hire a black professor, given the political inclinations of the administrators, they're not going to protect the black professor. Curry also said that while the university police extended him some protections, he didn't think the threats were being monitored closely enough to make him feel safe. Pamela R. Matthews, dean of the College of Liberal Arts, said in a written statement that she had just found out about Curry's departure and that she wishes him well in his future academic endeavors. A spokesman for the university did not respond to Curry's assertions about the administration or university security. That fall, Curry said, he went on 3 or 4 campus job interviews, but there was still this kind of cloud hanging over those interactions. People would ask questions about the controversy, Curry said, or they would make judgment calls about his research and say something like, surely you don't think armed resistance is the way. In those interviews, you just never know what the right answer is because you can see the reactions in the room where people are associating you with a kind of radicality, Curry said. It has nothing to do with the work. By January of 2018, Curry was considering leaving America entirely. What black scholars can study and speak about has become extremely narrow, especially under the Trump administration. He said if you take an unpopular view, like questioning the effectiveness of protests, the professor said, you're out of line with a lot of liberal sentiment in the academy. There is a rich tradition in studying black militant resistance and revolution, Curry said. But that's not what administrations want you to study. And it's often minority professors who end up on professor watch lists and targeted by extremists. He said, given those conditions, we have to start asking real questions about whether or not academic freedom even applies to minority professors in America anymore. He said, because it seems like this is not really an intellectual endeavor anymore. This is about staying quiet enough so that you don't get attacked and people don't know your name. Interviewing at Edinburgh felt like a relief to Curry. The department is interested in radical ideas, he said, and whether or not they hold water. It was a kind of freedom to actually start thinking again. That's from Emma Pettit, staff reporter at the Chronicle. We don't have enough of these radical black scholars. A lot of that stuff left with the 70s, where we have outspoken black scholars, and the number is diminishing, especially when it comes to black men. Like, we only have a couple of professors that actually speak up for black men. And Tommy Curry was one of the best of them. Now he has to leave America, much like a lot of our black scholars had to leave America in the 50s and 60s. Almost like they were exiled. Some of it imposed by America, some of it self-imposed because they couldn't do their work here. And this feels like the 60s all over again, where our outspoken black scholars can't do their work and they have to go someplace else just to feel safe, just to hold on to their jobs. And black America, black male America, is losing a brilliant mind. Even though I'm sure he will continue his work from abroad, but he's not going to be here. He's not going to be local, and that saddens me. But on the other hand, it could free him. Since America's problem is not the UK's problem, perhaps his voice will be unconstrained. Since he doesn't have those white feminist and black feminist pressures, he can more freely talk about black America and black male America. We have precious few voices and precious few brilliant minds to fight for us. And unfortunately, black men really don't value that. And somewhere along the lines, we're going to have to get our heads from between black women's thighs and stand up and think for ourselves and protect the people that think for us, that speak for us, that research for us, that do the dirty work for us. Black women would never allow this, but unfortunately, black women don't like Tommy J. Curry, and we know who runs the community. As Master Marley says, how long shall they kill our prophets while we stand around and look? Godspeed, Tommy J. Godspeed. Take your position and run. That's all I got. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.